Díomh card agus gur míle magadh a sucht an áilte sin. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for the lovely warm welcome. And I'm looking at my speech here, which I had an input, serious input into, along with others. And you know, after the tour of this beautiful university, I think I might have changed it slightly. But certainly after the tour I've just had, it's been an inspiration. I've met the president of the Students' Union, and I've met with the outreach for the law. I've met with so many people today. It's been an absolute privilege to listen, and I'll be back. So, a chóirde. I'm very pleased to be here with you all today in the Ulster University on this, my first official visit to Northern Ireland since I was elected as the 10th President of Ireland. May I thank First Minister Michelle O'Neill and the Deputy First Minister Emma Little-Pengelly for their warm welcome earlier today, and indeed our engagement was joyful and interesting and forward-looking, and we were establishing links for future contact. And may I thank the Ulster University Vice-Chancellor Paul Bartholomew, Professor Bartholomew, and also indeed the Chancellor of the University, who kindly accompanied us throughout our thorough beag in you through our little journey this morning. This superb new campus here in Belfast, as I understand it, one of the largest campus buildings in Europe, not the largest campuses, but the largest campus buildings, is symbolic of Ulster for me, symbolic of Ulster University's ethos and mission, a centre for innovation, providing a range of courses with an emphasis on holistic education. Ulster University, of course, without a doubt, has played this new building, a huge role in the regeneration of the area, which is ongoing as I understand it, and also, of course, in regional development, which is very important if we're going to face the overwhelming challenges posed by climate change. We need balanced regional development. Clearly, this is a special place designed to foster community, and that spirit of community jumped out today, no matter what subject I was part of or engaging with the students. So to foster community, but within the nearly 30,000 strong student and staff body across 3 campuses, Belfast, Coleraine and Derry, and I'll be going to Derry tomorrow. And I want to congratulate all those involved in the development of the campus and those who have contributed to the university being awarded for the first time ever, as I understand it, the Times Higher Education University of the Year 2024. Without a doubt, an absolute reflection on your work here and a momentous achievement. And I think bhuail bus guest. I think it's time for a bhuail bus in relation to that achievement. In my inauguration speech on the 11th of November last year, and I tell you I'm still coming to terms with that change, it's a work in progress, but in my inauguration speech I gave a commitment, and a solemn commitment, if I can say that my first official visit would be to come here to the north. And I've been here many times before, but I'm delighted to be with you here today and to fulfill that commitment, particularly as President. It's a particular privilege, and I look on it as a first visit officially, and I'll be back for many more. Indeed, I'm coming back, I hope, for the Fleadh later in the year in August, amongst many other events. I'm looking forward to meeting people from different communities who are doing absolutely such great work on the ground. And I always feel when I use words like that, it's a little patronising, but it's actually to recognise the importance of the work on the ground throughout the whole island. And during the campaign leading into my election, and indeed since, I have gone, I don't know how many counties, to realise that people have solutions on the ground. They absolutely have identified what the challenges are, and they know what the solutions are. And throughout this island, we need to empower, enable and resource. And that is the sustainable model for the future. The visit for me, of course, is also an opportunity to celebrate the rich heritage and traditions of all who live here in peaceful coexistence. Northern Ireland, without exaggeration, now represents a beacon of light to a world in how decades-long conflict can be resolved and reconciliation fostered and continued. In a world, unfortunately, that is ever more consumed with war and militarism, Northern Ireland's lesson is increasingly important and increasingly significant. And it is a lesson that we should all tell the world, that peace is normal and that war is not normal and that peace is possible. On the 10th of April this year, I know we will mark the 28 years since the signing of the Good Friday Agreement, a watershed moment in our Ireland's history. It represents a landmark peace accord that ended 30 years of conflict in Northern Ireland that we came to call the Troubles. It has key elements, all essential: establishing a power-sharing devolved government, and I met with the First Minister and the Deputy Minister today, fostering cross-border cooperation, and today and tomorrow I'm going to be meeting different groups who are promoting that cross-border and cross-community cooperation, and promoting peaceful means for resolving disputes, cross-community consent for decisions, commitments to demilitarisation and the decommissioning of parliamentary weapons, and guaranteed rights and legitimacy for both British and Irish identities. The voices of all of the people of this island came together and were heard in 1998 in May in the referendums North and South. And they set the course, one in which, in the words of the agreement, we firmly dedicate ourselves to the achievement of reconciliation, tolerance and mutual trust, and to the protection and vindication of the human rights of all. We can and should take real pride in the success of the Good Friday Agreement, knowing that it is recognised far and wide as a model for peaceful resolution of conflict. We know that this journey of peace and reconciliation was the result of sustained, meticulous, methodical work for many years, and this work continues to this day. We owe a great debt to all those whose leadership made peace happen. I look forward tomorrow in Derry to viewing John Hume's Nobel Peace Prize shared with David Trimble and his other distinguished awards when I visit the Guildhall in Derry. But I'm very conscious that it took a lot of input from a lot of unsung heroes in addition to the ones we rightly celebrate to make this peace possible, and particularly women. And there is a message there for us that we should learn from their participation in making this peace process, realising peace. Of course, as mentioned already, Mary Ann McCracken, the building is named after her, and I think it's only apt that I should quote her. And she urged people to strike out, back in the 19th century, to strike out something new and show an example of candour, generosity and justice superior to that of any who have gone before. And it's my belief that the Good Friday represents that brave and generous forward movement, but obviously we all have more work to do. The conflict, of course, has left its deep marks here in Northern Ireland, but also beyond the island, in Britain and beyond. Many families continue to live with grief and pain every day. It is a collective responsibility on all of us to address properly the needs and the questions of the families most affected, wherever they are, with integrity and a determination to deliver truth, accountability and justice for them and for society. As President, I give an absolute commitment that I will ensure, from my point of view in my work, that all voices from all backgrounds are heard, regardless of gender, age, belief, ethnicity or nationality. In that context, I am very mindful of the words of our own Constitution, particularly Articles 2 and 3, in all their parts, as amended after the Good Friday Agreement. And I think it's worth reading out what we committed to in our Constitution, because I couldn't capture it any better than the words of our Constitution. It is the firm will of the Irish nation, in harmony and friendship, to unite all the people who share the territory of Ireland in all the diversity of their identities and traditions, recognising that a united Ireland shall be brought about only by peaceful means, with the consent of the majority of the people, democratically expressed in both jurisdictions in this island. As President, I look forward to playing my part in deepening relationships on this island. We won't always agree, and in fact, life would be a very dull place if we all agreed. We will have different perspectives, which are crucial when we have dominant narratives in the world. Now more than ever, we need different perspectives, and of course, different aspirations for the future, and I want to acknowledge that publicly. All those perspectives and aspirations are legitimate, but I believe deeply that we are made richer by the different traditions on this island. I believe that the history and heritage of every single person and every community on this island has something that we can learn from. We did not and we do not live separate histories sealed off from each other. We live and are living in an intertwined and unfinished story. For me, Irishness is as varied as those who identify with it, in whole or in part. Our games, our music, our languages, and I emphasise languages, should never divide us. They are integral to this island's cultural wealth. They are our shared treasures. Of course, as I mentioned already, and I'll mention it again, later in August, the Fleadh for the first time is coming to Belfast. And this university will be a main venue, I understand, for that, and indeed some of the students will be participating in that. And I've had a taste of Ceoltas Ceoltóirí and Níos Túisce earlier on. And I'm really, that the fact that the university will be a main venue is absolutely wonderful. I hope all of you get a chance to soak up the atmosphere and enjoy this wonderful event. Mar Ocail Scar, to conclude, a Harja. We are, as the great Belfast poet John Hewitt reminded us, multi-layered and we are, as he reminded us, multi-layered people with multi-layered identities. To leave out any part of our shared heritage is to make false the whole. Let us together renew our commitment to peace and reconciliation and to fully realising its promise, its values and vision. And I think the university here has made a wonderful start in achieving that reality just in the last few years. So míle buíochas léamh go léir agus tá méid tnú leis an cuideile den lá agus a mára gar a míle maith.